everybody. Much needed. You go back to home Iowa. Okay, nice. Anyone else? Total out of town? Anything fun?
Went back home to Ohio.
Ohio, look at that. What part?
About an hour north of Columbus.
Okay. How was that? Just family gatherings and?
Yeah, my family lives there. We had our grandparents fly in from California.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool. I know some people in Cincinnati, Eaton, Ohio. Ohio's an interesting state. Anyone else? You were gonna say something?
I agree with you, great to some young family.
Okay. Cool, that's the way to do it. Just relax and hang out with family. I am Dr. Ross. This is consumer behavior. I think we'll just start off simply by going through over here and say name, year, what year you are, and what your major is, and maybe what the plan is. Okay. Maybe you're a college student, but what's the plan if you have one, if you don't. So be it. So let's just go through here and then we'll work our way this way. Yes.
My name is Amelia. I'm a sophomore. I'm currently decided, but I think I'm going to go to marketing or teaching. And right now, I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to go to.
Okay, marketing teacher, nice to have you back. All right. Um, So work for an organization, work the way up. Okay. Any ambitions to start your own firm? Okay. Get the experience first. All right.
My name's Tim. I'm a junior. My major is marketing. And I'm not totally sure what I want to do after this, but I might look into helping my mom's cookie business and helping build that and help that grow.
All right. Nice to have you back again today, Tim. Maybe we can discuss some of the cookie business paradigms back here. Yes.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm a sophomore. I'm still marketing. Minor in graphic arts and international business. And I don't think I have one for that yet.
Not yet. All right. trying to think when I caught the channel from London to France. The train can drop me off in Lille. Yeah. And then you catch the train from there to Paris. I like that. Well, welcome. Over here, yes.
I'm Cam. I'm a junior. My major is business, and the plan is to I know I want to do marketing, but right now I'm like doing internships, so eventually get into a perfect company.
Awesome.
I'm a senior here at CUC. The plan is to take, what else?
What do you study?
Marketing, sales management, my degree, and the plan is to take some grad classes at the university and continue.
All right. You gonna do the MBA program? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Welcome, everyone. It's nice to have you. Obviously, I've had some of your students. I remember some of the faces. I got a couple of people who actually had me earlier today in class. So it's nice to see you all again and all the new people as well. I'm Dr. Ross. This is consumer behavior. So I'll just give you a sort of a brief background about myself. All right, so as an undergrad, right, I got my degree in marketing and management. I worked at a place called the Blackstone Group here in Chicago. And what they focused on is kind of full service marketing. But one of my specialties was marketing research. You know, so for me, it was kind of finding the perfect locations for Starbucks at that time, right? This was a while ago, so it was like Starbucks was really like, you know, getting in. Dunkin' Donuts, things with Google, Apple, Microsoft. So I was looking to find specific consumers for these organizations, specific locations, why it made sense, right? All the data to support these sort of decisions. And that was my role. I had, it was a cool job, right? I was right out of college, I actually got the job like my senior year. And then it was cool. I had an office looking at the river downtown, all that. And I was like, man, this is awesome, right? I'm gonna stay here forever. Quickly I learned that I get bored very quickly. Right? So I stayed maybe a couple of years. And I was like, oh man, this sucks. You got a boss coming with you every day, clock in at this time, do this, do that. And there's a lot of older people that work there, and I would talk about some home improvements. And I was like, man, I gotta do something else, right? I don't like being told what to do all the time. I wanted freedom. I wanted time off to my own person. And so I decided, like, hey, you know, I'll go into an MBA program and get a little bit more expertise, knowledge, and start my own business. So I went into the MBA program. Actually, I got my MBA from Dominican University. So I teach at Dominican primarily. Right? I've been teaching there for 10 years. Got my MBA there and started a business. Right? I was thinking, like, hey, what business should I start? It's like I did. And I was looking at all the normal things that people would do, but then I started to look at kind of alternative means of operating the business. So I kind of learned about private equity, right? I started to learn about hedge fund. I was like, man, how come in class, taking these courses, nobody ever talk about hedge fund, private venture capital and stuff. I got really interested in that. And basically what it was is getting groups of investors to use a pool of money, either like a mutual fund or something of that sort, for projects, or buy corporations, buy startups. Mine was focused on real estate. So I was like, I'm gonna use other people's money instead of going to the banks. Right? Because I knew kind of a few wealthy-ish people at the time. So it was my job to kind of convince them with this data analysis of why So I started small, multifamily units, 2 flats, 3 flats, right, in Chicago. Quickly recognized, like, yeah, everybody talks about passive income, or generational wealth, passive income, right, all that stuff. But you realize it doesn't make that much profit. It's a good way to park money. Put your money where you park it, hopefully the value of the property grows, but you're thinking of killing it. Okay. No, so I was like, all right, back to the drawing board, what do I do? Well, scale up. Need more money to maybe buy buildings that have more than 10 floors. And then I started to see like that's where the real profit came in. Or mixed use. You have retail on the first floor with an office and residential. Usually the one at the bottom anchors the building, these Starbucks down there, and 15,000 a month rent, 20,000 a month. Like, hey, it covers kind of all the expenses. Good. Everything else is great. And so I went that route, got to that part, I'm like, well, what else? I love to travel, I love to meet people, I love cultures. I like doing all these different things. And so I was like, hey, the power of the US dollar versus other places. I'm like, man, I could buy a ton of great real estate in other parts of the world. So I kind of did that, right? Went to Africa, did some investment, South America, other places as well too. And met some great people along the way. So I was in business, right? I was doing great. I love to travel, so I knocked that out, started my own business, great. Making the investors happy, make sure they're getting what the contract says they're gonna get. You know, if they wanna pull out in 5 years, they could, 10 years, they could. All of that. So that was private equity. At the time I was getting my MBA, I kind of based it on that, right? I was like, oh man, business school. What's business school? It's about to make money. We're gonna make money. I think we are, right? We should be sharks about making money, good business. And so at that time, the price of books was very expensive. Library was expensive. And I knew some people from the publishing house, but they have a great network. From the Blackstone, I had a network like crazy. I had like Bill Gates, secretary's number, like Steve, like crazy network. So I knew some people at the publishing houses, they would get books cheap, super cheap. I sold them to all the students, most of the students, throughout 2 years. I made about $30,000 in 2 years, right? The professors didn't like it once they found out, right? The bookstore kind of like it too, right? Some issues there too. But my argument was like, hey, you know, it's expensive to go to school here. These books are expensive. I don't think they're worth that much. Right? I don't think they're worth what you're asking, right? Blah, blah, blah. I had my own reasons, and I made the money. So that's how I viewed that. What I learned from that is like, it's a fine line between ethical and unethical things in business, right? But at the same time, it's about execution. I was able to execute. There were people, there were students who wanted not to pay that ridiculous price. I had the product at the right time, at the right moment, for the right price. Boom, made the money, right? And that's really what business is about. And kind of what we'll learn here in consumer behavior, right? All the different sort of reasons why we make someone act, right, on purchasing something. Okay, so then I was like, hey, I'm making the money, all this different stuff. This is great, cool things, gadgets, cars, motorcycles, boats, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I still don't feel completely satisfied, and I don't think most people will. Right? Usually when you do all this stuff, you always find that there's a yearning for something else. Right? That yeah, the car is cool when you first get it for 3 months and you get bored, you want to do it. It never ends. The cycle never stops, right? Consumption. So I was like, hey, you know what? I met all these people around the world, but I'm a child of poverty. I grew up extremely poor. Went to 13 elementary schools, lived in the projects, went to the schools in New Orleans, Mississippi, Chicago, blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying all these making the money, what if I use this money to start a for-profit philanthropy, not-for-profit philanthropy, to help people? So I started a foundation, and I was like, I want the foundation to be able to provide developing education programs for particular groups. Primarily, I do work in like South Africa. There's a huge need there. Mental health things. I still do therapy for entire groups of people down in South Africa, virtually all the time. So I still take trips down there too, and all sorts of things to kind of help people. But this kind of helped me fill the void more. So I was like, hey, it's one thing to have a for-profit business, it's another thing to have something where you're giving back. And usually you feel a sense of more of a completion when you give back to people. When you're helping people and you see it actually help, it's better than a new, brand new watch, car, shoes, all of that. It lasts long. So I did that. I'm like, all right, great. You know, this is great. And what should I do next? You know, I still love school, right? I probably always had somewhat of an ambition to be a professor. I had great professors. But then I was like, hey, what do I want to do outside of that? And so I went and got a PhD in psychology. So I was thinking, like, what doctors? If I'm going to teach, then whatever. And so I decided on psychology, right? Because I thought about it as a business person, which means I always want to maximize every decision I make. It has to have like the greatest benefits. So it's like psychology is a medical degree. You can be licensed, you have a private practice. You could be an organizational psychologist, transforming organizations, their culture, everything, colors, shapes, all this stuff. It's a professional degree. You can teach, research. It's excellent for writing and reading. Like, at that level, you'd be excellent at reading and writing, right? You probably have written in a version, a format called APA format, right? MLA and APA. Who's written in APA? Right? You're like, what's APA? The American Psychological Association. Psychologists really have created a standardized format for references, writing in an academic setting, right? So it's like, man, this is great. To me, it was the degree that maximized everything. I'm like, this has unlimited potential because it deals with human behavior. I'm a human being, you're human, right? We all have issues and traumas, and you know, we kind of learn about these things, help ourselves, right? Help others. So yeah, I did that, but I wanted to do it, so I wanted to do it with different cultures and people here too. So I do it for, you know, as well as people here in the U.S., Western culture. But I was like, man, I want to do psychology with groups of people, these groups that I was fascinated with, to help them through their traumas, because there was some hyper trauma. Initially, a lot of my research encompassed Mexican drug cartels, right? So I was like, I want to study hyperviolence, right? What does it do to shock you for these mutilations and beheadings and, you know, driving fear, et cetera, et cetera, right? But I did work with those types of groups. But then I kind of did more with people who just have real needs of trauma. Former Chinese soldiers, people who virtually they have to hack off arms and hands, and they're screaming at night, having nightmares for the rest of their life, living with that trauma. Right? Sexual violence in those communities that I was talking about, communities where there's 1 million people in shanty towns. Imagine what happens there. No policing, no nothing. So there is a real need for those type of individuals. And that's why I became what's known as an international psychologist. So I'm a psychologist by practice, but I'm still a business person day to day. Right? So I kind of like both. And to be honest, they complement each other. Business is about people. Right? To be a psychologist, I know people very well. Motives, ambitions, intentions, fears, right? Insecurities, personalities, Any questions so far? What did I learn along the way being a student? It's a lot of time to be a student. It's a lot of time to just say you're a student. And I always like to tell people, like, hey, remember, if you have a business mindset, you always want to maximize every single resource. Unfortunately, not everybody can see resources. People just glance over them, right? But you have free labor. You have people with no jobs, do classes on it. That's experts. Well, I wouldn't say experts, but have a high degree of motivation in accounting, finance, economics, graphic design, management, marketing. You literally have what you would view as an organization once you graduate. People who are important, we have it here for free. So who's to say you couldn't start an organization in college? Make a few $1 million before you leave college. Maybe not even finish because you're rich. Or you can catch your organization. Right? Who's to say that? Right? Who's to say you couldn't do that? This is about talent, right? It's about human capital. You have it here for free. This will be the last time ever it's for free, ever. After this, everybody wants a ridiculous amount of money and salary, right? Nobody's doing anything. This is it. So I would kind of say, hey, think about that. Like, think about utilizing your network. I think really college is about the network. The lectures are great. You probably retain about 3% of what you went through. Right? Human mind, memory doesn't activate. What you're interested in, you'll remember. If you're not interested in, you'll forget. Right? But consider the resource aspect. Okay, before we get into just kind of chapter 1 and talk about what consumer behavior is, I figured we'd go over the syllabus. We're all clear about what's to be expected, right? So we know everything that's coming up. Everything's on Blackboard that I'm going to talk about in the syllabus, but let's just review it. We get out of here, what, 2:15? Okay, here is our syllabus. All right, so our textbook is Buying, Having, Being by Michael Solomon, Consumer Behavior, 13th edition. Should be kind of easy to find. How was it? Probably find online. Probably find online. I'll tell you that. All right. So, for whatever that's worth. Okay, and so we get quizzes, 3 points each for 21 points. So that means there's 7 quizzes. They're on Blackboard. They're not very lengthy. Nothing too crazy about. Participation assignments, right? So 7 of those, 5 points each for 35 points. We have written assignments. Those are 3. We have 3 written assignments, 7 points each. And then a final presentation. We got our first writing assignment, second writing assignment, third. They're all there in the syllabus. And with our final presentation, right? There are many companies today that are very effective in marketing through several integrated forms of marketing. For your final presentation, you will need to work in groups of 3. I'll let you pick your own teams. Really, you don't need to. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm just kind of go this way. Second. However, everyone must have a team or at least a partner, and I want you to research some companies today that have very effective integrated forms of marketing. I want you to dissect and explain the various strategies that create consumer satisfaction. So really, this assignment is all about how do a particular company of your own choosing, right, their product or service, how do they satisfy has an iPhone? Who here has a MacBook? Who here has an Apple Watch? Who here has an iPad? Who here can tell me the number of iPhones they've had? Just all. You had 16? Yeah. All right, great. 15 $100 a pop. It's a lot of money. Customer lifetime value. You're like, man, I like Apple so much that I gave them $40,000 in my lifetime. That's a lot of money. Right? Apple's killing it. Apple satisfies. So if we were to dissect Apple and go, hey, what satisfies you? It's a lot of reasons. A ton of reasons. So those will be presented. You'll submit just a presentation on Whiteboard, but no, we're presenting that in person, right? And so what I'll do is probably the last few weeks, we'll have one group maybe per week present, right? Obviously, 4, 6, 9, 12. We got about 5 weeks. So maybe the last 5 weeks we'll have presentations. So this is how we'll do it. You 3. 10. You'll be with them. That's right. Group 1. Write it down, communicate with each other, exchange emails, do all the things you need to do. Second group back there, for these 2. All right, so communicate. And also too, these groups will be your groups for the semester when we do groups questions, discussion questions. Now, I'll give you your groups and talk about, whatever it is I'm asking. So keep that in mind too. Group 3, you and 2 back there, way in there. Good. Group 4, you 3. Group 5, you 2. Can you handle that? Hey, and don't be that student. Don't be that student where, oh man, I never heard from that person. They never even know. They didn't even contribute one thing. Right? I always hear that, right? Don't be that person. Contribute. Care about your education while you're here. And just respect others in your group, right? You wouldn't want everyone else to put the work on you. So don't do it. All right, so those are our groups, and those are also our groups for in-class discussions. Right? So once I pair with your group, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so, and that's pretty much it. What I want to do is each class, kind of break up lecture and have some variation. We'll also have like some class assignments to break up lecture and stuff like that. But I'll add to the syllabus and also put it in Blackboard, for each individual to come up and talk about something new that they've observed for consumer behavior. Right? So what we could do is we'll split it up Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if we say, hey, this half of class be Tuesdays, and I'm talking about quick. It's not a lengthy talk. 1 slide, 3 bullet points. Talk about an observation that you've noticed, that you've seen people a trend of consumer behavior. Like, man, I've noticed this. What did you notice about it? That kind of things, whether it's assumptions, whatever. I just want you to kind of keep in your mind to be aware that, like, hey, I see a trend coming. I see a movement about to happen. Right? That's a good way to kind of gauge maybe a person who's highly perceptual, like, ooh, I see it coming. I see the next Amazon. I'll buy the stock now so I can get a zillionaire in 5 years because nobody else saw it. Right? I want you to kind of have that mindset. Okay? So just one thing you observe, each week. also part of that is public speaking. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of work on talking. It's important. A lot of people don't have great communication skills. I don't care how wealthy they are, what business they own. Poor communicators. Right? And be very highly successful to go as far as you can in life. Communication is extremely important. To be able to talk, to be able to kind of also get over their anxieties. It takes repetition, it takes practice. I teach speech communication here too, and that's a great course. I'm not teaching this semester, last semester I did. It's a great course of just like practicing speeches, the whole class of speeches. Every class. Right? And it allows people to kind of feel themselves out. Maybe like to walk through something, or comfortable. Pocket person. Worry about people think about you. Worry about messing up. Worry about not coming off right. Right? Is to get over those things. Because this course, consumer behavior, talking about behavior. We didn't talk about a lot of psychological things. And we'll look at two perspectives. One from the marketer side. Hey, you're the business owner or the marketer, you work for a marketing organization, you're focusing on these behaviors. Right? That's your job. And then maybe the consumption side. You're kind of like, hey, I'm a consumer, I'm a customer. Why do I buy that thing? Why do I buy that? How did they get, how did they fool? Attachments. Hey, the university convinced me to make a choice and come. Great marketing. What's the reason behind it? Athletic program? Maybe. Academics? Maybe. I want to go to a good Christian school? Maybe. Whatever they did, they marketed. Right? That was part of your consumer behavior. You're consuming the product. Now, this is your product, the education. All right. So yeah, I'll add that to Blackboard and on the syllabus just as a reference. But keep that in mind. One slide, very quick, something that we can break up class with, and that we can learn something interesting, something for us to observe. So, any questions?
You said individual.
Individual, yeah, no groups for those. Yeah, I want everybody to kind of have their own observations. Right, yeah, part of being a great scholar is one, absolutely knowing you don't know everything. Two, knowing that there's no such thing as perfect information. Get that out of your head. You make the best decision at the time that you make it with the knowledge that you have at that moment in the state of mind. Whether you're hungry, angry, bored, whatever, on drugs. Right? So we have to be, as a scholar, we have to realize that, oh, yeah, I can have my assumptions. I got my presumptions. You can have your opinion, and that's part of learning. So don't be shy. Like, give me your thoughts on that. You know what I mean? That's part of what learning is. Sometimes we always think, oh man, it's gonna sound stupid. It doesn't matter. Right? That's your thought, that's your opinion, that's your perception. It might be a lot better than what you thought it was. Right? So yeah, try to throw out your real ideas, right? Your true perceptions about the content of the learning. Okay, let's see. Where are we? Okay, so we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna introduction to consumer behavior. Hey, what's consumer behavior to you? In your own words. Yes.
It's the way that consumers act towards businesses, whether it's the way that they react to price changes or how they react to different packaging. It's all that packaging is one small thing.
All right, so this is a buy. They're great colors. Right? I didn't see the other stuff, so I didn't even know it existed. I saw this on Instagram, on TikTok. That's the platform that I use. So I'm not saying many things. I don't behave using this other stuff. My behavior is Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat. Whatever's on there is probably likely what I'll see, and I'll buy. So yeah, it's decisions. Because there's a gazillion, there's an unlimited amount of alternatives, right, to buy. Which taco you gonna buy? Here, there, which one? Right? You gotta make a decision. So it's about how we make decisions and process. Anyone else? Right, so we say, hey, we're gonna talk about the process of how we make a decision and how marketers use this information to create new strategies, to adapt new sort of things to their offerings, right? How to change things based on changes that they see. Marketers have to understand the wants and needs of different consumer segments. People are itemized into groups. We're all members of a group, several, whether you like it or not, disavow it or not. We're a social organism, which means that the society is more powerful than you as an individual. Always. Whether you don't like it, don't matter. Those forces will impact your life. Right? We're part of groups. You're part of an ethnic group, ethnic or racial group. Whether you like it or not. Right? You're part of a gender group. Right? You're part of spiritual, religious groups. Yeah, I'm spiritual. Like you don't know. I'm Roman Catholic. I mean, I am Roman Catholic. Right? Your socioeconomic status. Are you a homeless person in front of the high rise? Or are you a person living in the penthouse in the So people, humans are in segments. Students, professors, right? We're all in these groups. We're all part of the same education system. Right? There's different roles. People have different needs. Hey, Professor Rush, you look like just like a professor. Like, oh, what's that about? There's an archetype to it. There's a thing. Whether we know how to describe a thing doesn't matter. We know that there's a thing, right? Students, rock my comfy hoodie, jacket, comfortable. So I want to be comfortable. Come to here at the fashion show, right? Be comfortable. Like students to me, right? So, as part of that, humans are broken into groups. So we got to know that, hey, there's segments, different types of consumer segments. And we need to pay attention to what those are and what those segments want. We got different needs. I probably don't have the same desires and needs that you do at this stage, right? And you don't have mine, right? You probably care less about the things I'm interested in, and vice versa. And marketers know that. So I'm gonna get marketed to in a different way than right? Things that companies are trying to convince me to. Our choices as consumers relate in powerful ways to the rest of our lives. Sometimes it's not about how you money, the amount of money you make is how you spend it. Right? It's probably more important. People are very wasteful. We're a consumption world. Beyond this, a consumption country. We consume. Let me go buy a bunch of useless stuff on Shein and Temu because it's cheap. And get it here. I get a package every day. I can't wait to see if that package from Amazon came today. Every day, every week. Something new. Something we'll never pay attention to after a week. We just need more and more and more. Right? Never ending. But it impacts us different ways. You're like, oh, what if I save money so that I can start a business? Instead of buying something. The different sort of choices that we make and impacts our life. But it also makes us feel great. Tell me a great purchase that you're completely satisfied about. a restaurant, anything, yes.
I bought the hat that I'm wearing not too long ago, and I've been really enjoying it.
Something as simple as a hat. Sometimes things simple, you're like, man, I like this hat. It's my favorite hat. I wear it all the time with all different types of things. And you really value the hat. If you were to lose and gotta buy a new one, you're like, oh man, I gotta break it in again. So this hat is mine, forms my hand, right? Something just as small as that, you would think that would be irrelevant. But it's not. It's a sense of feeling that you have. It gives some sort of value to the hat. So I didn't tell people about it, you just told me about it, right? Now, whoever makes it, what kind of hat is that?
Victoria hat.
They just get free marketing. Like, hey, thanks, Tim. You saved us X amount of dollars. I don't have to market it. Tim is a walking billboard for us, right? So you're like, hey, I don't mind doing it. Thanks for the hat. Right? There's an exchange there. Right? It works. I'm about to rock the new Jordans in this colorway. Man, where'd you get those from? Chain reaction of events, right? Free market, which is good, but you're a satisfied customer, so it doesn't really matter. I don't care. I'm happy with what I get. That's what it's about. Our motivations to consume are complex and varied. You know, we all like to think we're unique. You know, we all like to think that we're different. And so I can ask somebody why they bought a particular thing, and they'll tell me like a whole story about it, right? Because you're like, it really is a complex thing. Some people like screenshot something and save it for like 2 months when they finally save up enough money for it, and then they buy it. Some people are like, man, I never buy in the stores. I'll take a picture of it and go online and spend a discount, promo code, right? They do it, they make the purchase in a different way. Some people are actually going to store buy it, right? So it's, our motivations to consume are complex. And it really depends. You might be hungry. If you're hungry, you got a taste for it. Taste for potato chips. I'm gonna go buy me some potato chips. That's a different motivation. It's complex. Hour later, you don't want potato chips. You want something else. You go buy something else. Right? So state of mind, mental state. But I'm hungry, but I'm not hungry for everything. I have a taste for this particular thing. Complex, very complex. Technology and culture create a new always-on consumer. Right? We have these phones, so no matter what you go look at, you're going to be promoted to. You go on Instagram, first thing pop up is all the reels or something you tap on, you know, they're showing you stuff. TikTok shop, right? Facebook, all these different things. You go on Google, there's an ad. People have paid for these ads who are listed at the top, right? So you can probably focus more on those. So we have an always-on sort of consumer mindset because of the technology. All right, and the type of people who study this field. What do you think you could do with consumer behavior? Like professional? What kind of people do you think can use this information?
Like business companies, they like break down the data.
Yeah, hey, business data, right? Information, things to analyze. What else?
Any sort of like corporation where you're offering it, you know, even if it's like comfort or like any service, like you gotta know how it's reciprocated.
Yeah, right. And if you have any sort of offering, you need to know who your consumers are, how they buy, what do they value, what they don't value. Anything else besides just corporations? What about people, what types of people, other entities out there? Yeah.
Say like religious groups, like they're selling the idea of their belief view, so.
Yeah, you say most religious organizations operate as a not-for-profit organization, right? Take donations to survive as an organization. So their thing is, we need to know what consumer behavior is well too. think of even governments. Governments need to see these trends of data to know which industries and sectors are doing well, right? So they can maybe promote to help those industries and sectors to be better. Investors, all right? So you say if you own stocks in a multitude of different companies, you have a sort of concern about, hey, what are the trends for people consuming? I don't know, maybe it's time to pull my money out. I don't need to go into that anymore. I don't think that company's changing or adapting to the behavior of people. Well, I think they are. I think I see a new trend. I should put all my money into this corporation or this stock, right? Based on the behavior of consumers. There are different perspectives regarding what we should understand about consumer behavior. All right, here's our textbook definition. The study of the processes involved when individuals or groups select, purchase, use, dispose of. So we're not even talking about getting rid of the product, right? Because that's efficiency. H&M has like a buyback program. They buy back the clothes. They don't really buy back, they just give you a discount, right, on your next purchase. They're like, hey, that's good. Maybe some way they can resell the clothes in the secondary market and make even more money. So they're making money not just off your initial purchase, and you bring it back, if that makes sense. Or it might be saying that's responsible. Maybe they recycle it in some ethical way or something. So it doesn't end at just, I bought it and that's it, right? We gotta see what you do after the fact. After the fact, like, hey, I just went and had an excellent time at this restaurant. We go and Yelp, leave a review. That's a behavior. Like, why are you leaving a review? I never leave. When I have time to, I don't care. Like, no, I care. I want people to know that this sucked. Right? This place sucks. Take a picture. Fly. Right? That is a behavior to inform other people, to warn others. Right? And that company needs to pay attention. Like, I bet you change your behavior now, you see 1-star reviews from a lot of people. Right? That organization may begin to change its behavior. Services, right? The big one. Remember, services are also kind of products. You go to a restaurant, you sit and eat, you're like, oh man, the ambiance is great. Ooh, look at the view, and the waiter is nice. Food was great. But ultimately, you still pay for what? An experience. Service is an experience. But man, it's a great experience. I'll come back there and pay for the experience. Right? Because you're like, well, food is something you get rid of. It's not something you hold on to forever. It leaves your body at some point. So really, it's still a product, but it's more about the experience. Ideas. How can ideas be part of consumer behavior? Yes. Yeah, right, you're like, hey, you know what, you don't just come up with an idea and throw it out there, right? Especially if it's a very expensive idea, right, some technology or something, you're like, oh, we gotta like, put real money together and test it out, maybe do some focus groups. Hey, we're thinking about coming out with a new Coca-Cola, a can to where it's like a regular 12 ounce, but you can split it in half and it's 2, and that's 6 ounces. Coca-Cola's like, wait, I don't know if we should just throw that out there. It's $1 billion investment. I don't know if that'll work. How do we know that'll work? What can we do? How do we test it? We think it'll work. Yes? Yeah, you're like, oh man, let's put some money towards some focus groups, right? Let's get real people who usually buy part of the demographic that we think usually buy Coca-Cola, and let's ask them their opinion. Try it out. What do you think? What did you like? What did you didn't like? Okay. And then we can get that information. So even easier, just and they were like, hey, you know what? We don't like it. That idea, we got to squash it. Right? That product never comes to market. We always see that with cars and these prototypes constantly. Stages in the consumption process, let's see. Pre-purchase issues. Right, we're gonna look at two perspectives, one on the consumer perspective, right, one on the marketing perspective. So we wanna understand both. How does a consumer decide that he or she needs a product? What are the best sources of information to learn more about alternate choices? Right, so we gotta think, right? Consumer's perspective, how do I go about making a decision for buying a new pair of shoes? How many shoes am I looking for? Right, what colors? Who's gonna give the best price for what I want to pay for? And then, on a marketing perspective, how are consumer attitudes towards products formed and or changed? What makes you change your mind at the last second? What makes you not go ahead? Maybe you add something in the cart, and then you remove it and add something else. What cues do consumers use to infer which products are superior to others? What are people saying is better than the other thing, right? Why is it better? Why do you think Apple is better than other things? Why do you think Samsung is better than Apple? Can you tell me who here owns Android? Android phone. Better than Apple or not? Why? Less complex? All right, what do you think?
I'm not sure, I've never tried that one before, so there's no way that I can compare both of them.
So you don't have a frame of reference. Who here has tried both? Which one's better? Right? Are you like, hey, you know, Apple, some people say Apple has a superior camera. Some people might disagree. Some people are like, man, at nighttime, for nighttime it sucks. Samsung's better.
I'd say like for my life, I kind of got the same value out of both of them. I'm just now paying a lot more money for like something that I can just send text messages on, so it's probably not the most wise investment.
Well, why do you think you ultimately made the decision? It's just what you're used to?
Yeah, probably. It's just like I switched like a while ago, and I remember it being like such a pain to switch all the stuff over to this one. So I was like, I don't want to spend a whole day in T-Mobile trying to switch it all over again.
Yeah.
So,
Think about it, it's really sometimes about relationships. It's like a real relationship. Like, hey, how come we won't break up? I got a lot of time to invest in bought this house, you know. Spend a lot of time with this person, a lot of energy. Like, yeah, but it's bad for you. Like, yeah, but this other stuff outweighs leaving. It's a relationship. Like, it's too difficult to change all this new stuff, right? It really is that way. We have an emotional sort of attachment with the phones. We've had them for a long, long time. Right? We figured it out. It's easy. It's automatic responses for us to ask us to do that all over again. We're like, nah, it's okay. I want to relearn a new operating system for it. Anyone else? Yes.
Well, I never really bought an Android because like my phone broke, so I thought it was cheaper, and that's why I did it for that. I bought it twice, and then after that, I never get my glitch.
So you had a horrible experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, and that's the thing. Sometimes when we switch and we're like, oh, you know, I'm gonna save some money. I'm gonna save some money, get a little cheaper one, try to work that, and then you quickly realize, like, damn, you get what you pay for. Right? Sometimes you realize, like, that's why it costs. You're like, why is it so cheap? Trying to figure it out. You're like, that's why it's so cheap. Yeah, right? Sometimes there's real value in the price. So, second part, is acquiring a product a stressful or pleasant experience? What does the purchase say about the consumer? Who could tell me what's been a stressful experience for you, for anything that you bought in the last year, 2 years, or something that's been pleasant, either way, pleasant or stressful? Yes. Yeah, you're like, hey man, I wanna go on Amazon because it's quick and it's easy and it'll be here tomorrow. But unfortunately, everybody's looking for the same stuff. So if it is that pink iPad, it might be out. So like, oh, okay, so now I gotta go get it from somewhere else, it's gonna take longer. Right? Now you gotta make a choice, right? You know, wait for Amazon to restock and get it shipped a day later, or you're just gonna go buy it from somewhere else. So it takes energy, gas, time, resources, something else. And it may be cheaper, right? Because you're like, I don't know. Maybe cheaper, maybe more expensive. But usually a pleasant experience is like one-stop shop. Amazon has everything, Instacart, right? You can maybe shop at a multitude of grocery stores. Would you like groceries? Some grocery stores don't have great produce. Some of them don't have great meats, right? Some of them don't have great this and that. You're like, oh, it'd be wonderful if I could get the best of all worlds. Right? And so these sort of platforms, Instacart, think of Uber, right? Pleasant, it's quick, maybe not so pleasant on the pocket, but you're basically getting charged double, right? With all the service fees and delivery fees. So we have to say, hey, you know, which one do we choose between these alternatives? And then on the marketing side, how do situational factors such as time, pressure, store displays affect the consumer's purchase decisions? Even when you walk into a grocery store, and you're like, man, there's things at my eye level which I will see walking down an aisle, and then there's everything you would love. What happens with the stuff that's below? Like, they don't pay that much money to the supermarket to keep their stuff in the shop. Therefore, they are down there. People pay higher are at eye level. Hence why they're probably brand names, names you actually know they can afford to do that, like Kellogg's and stuff like that. So basically, it's like, hey, even though store displays, they have an impact on our behavior. We may not just see the stuff, right? Whoever has the best presentation usually wins. One of the hardest businesses to probably go into, I say to like have an enduring, lengthy business is this. The water business. It's just water. Go on 7-Eleven, 3 cases, plastic water. Like who, bless you, like, why did you buy the one you bought? Why did you buy that bottle? Agatha, why did you buy that bottle of water?
This one I didn't like, but the one I have is because it's, the coat.
It keeps it covered. All right. Anyone else? How do you decide which bottle of water to buy? Yes.
Usually people will buy it out of convenience. They'll be out and about, they don't have a water bottle on them at the time, so they'll stop at a gas station, quickly grab one before continuing on with their day.
Which water will they bring?
Usually whichever one they see first.
All right, so once again, you're like, hey, presentation counts, right? You might want to be the one that I love. Since you walked up with the first. Yeah.
Some people have a preference. So like if there's a certain brand of water that like they don't like, they won't get it. Like me personally, I know I only look at like ice or water. So like if I don't see it, I'm not getting it.
So you like Ice Mountain?
Yeah.
Your preference. All right, so you're like, hey, my taste and preference. I bought what I like, and I'm gonna keep buying it, as long as I get it, and I'll pay whatever, because that's the one I like. Were you gonna say something? So you're like, hey, bottled water is kind of like wine. main important factor, usually the primary one, is what? But, he said, right? You're either gonna buy the cheapest one, or you're gonna buy the one that catches your eye. Right? It's like wine. Look how many wine selections there are on the go store. Like, I don't know which one to buy. I don't know, just buy the cheapest one. Because you don't know, right? Or the one with the coolest label, the one that catches your eye. Voss, to me, has the best looking, aesthetically pleasing bottle order out there. Right? It's incomparable. It's just this nice silver. You're like, oh, I'll pay for it. I'll pay an extra for it. Just because of that, the form of it. All right, we're pretty much out of time. We'll end here. So, let's see, Thursday, maybe this group come up with some observation, right? We can talk about for class. Yeah, and we'll continue on with this and have some more group discussions as well too. Make sure you review everything on Blackboard and the syllabus and communicate with your